8 out of 10. This is a lot of fun to play and it moves quickly.
I teeter around 6 or 7.
7. My scales, there's 5 you just don't want to play. Any 5 or low you don't play. This one is just a nice simple pick up and play.
Because of my like of storyline and access to storyline, I would actually give this system an 8.
It is definitely more focused on story than it is on mechanics.
Quite a simple system, which is actually not a bad thing.
I've found that having something like your Kai disciplines automatically give you access to certain ways you would take on a story made that part flow very smoothly. That wasn't held up by rolling and having to find out what was going on that side of things. So it made access to storyline faster.
I hate things that are bogged down with calculations, although there is the table, which we have to refer to in combat.
It takes a lot of work from the GM. At the same time, he's got to run through this table constantly.
This is the combat table. And I have to say, when I first looked at it, I thought, this is just going to be too cumbersome to move around. But considering that as the narrator of the game, you're not actually rolling dice for your monsters and your minions anymore. That's now all handled with one dice roll from the players. Your job becomes referencing the table and then trying to interpret that in some kind of narrative way. Yes, you could shout out and say, well, you take 5, your enemy takes 4, let's move on. But I think because, as the narrator, you're not rolling the dice, it gives you the capacity to tell that story of the combat. So I think that's quite good.
If you played the books, it takes us straight from that.
It's simple enough to be easy to access, but I think there probably isn't a lot of subtlety to it. You're either a heavy hitter, a medium hitter, or a light hitter. But I think, depending on the focus of the system, if the system is not about running from one combat to another, I don't think that's as much of an importance as the rest of the storytelling of it.
I think what makes the game easy to play is that there is that limitation. You do have certain combos. I made up 2 characters beforehand, and I was witness to a third character, actually another 2 characters being made. And it was interesting with the limited lists, you could still have a combo that you got to the end of it going, okay, this is what this character is. He's not a pure healer, or he's not a pure fighter, or a mentalist of sorts. So you can really make it your own.
If you're looking for a game where you can play perhaps a wizard from the grand city of Turan, the wizard conclave in the world, you're not going to do that with this box set. I hope they're going to release expansions which would allow you to take on different classes, because I think that could be quite fun. As it stands at the moment, you are a Kai Lord.
There is so much more that can be added to it. It's a nice, if we were just looking at a starter game, that would be great. Then it would rate higher. But I like long campaigns of sorts. And I'm not sure with what we've been given so far, if it has a longer life.
I would love to finish this game. At least finish this game. I had fun. Yeah.
In a short gameplay, you can tell a lot of story, and that for me is a big win.
Hello and welcome to this, our very first system review. Joining me around the table, I've got Troy.
Hello.
Donovan.
Hey.
And David. Okay, we are reviewing this system here, and it has recently come out. It's just been nominated for an award for Best RPG of the Year. Of course, it's inverted. That's because I'm intelligent. And we will be running this system. We've briefly looked through the rules, some of us at least, anyway. And the guys have created characters for this very basic system. It uses a D10 only. It's based on the original books by Joe Dever, which came out in the 80s, and which most of us here have played already, which gives us a certain familiarity with the world setting. The box set itself is really cool. It comes with a whole bunch of maps and charts and things, which we will be using hopefully correctly throughout today. So, Troy, introduce us to your character, please.
My character is Wise Speaker, very good at influencing people, carries an axe, so is brawny, swings that around, so that helps with the influence. And that's pretty much it, really, from Wise Speaker.
Cool. Mine is Kind Heart. Of course he is. He is hopefully the healer that keeps this party together. He does walk around with a staff that has a pointy edge. Point. Anyway, just in case you're not listening to him. And he is one of the Kai faithful. So he proclaims the word.
Nice. David.
Playing Sun Rain. He was the second incarnation of our characters. We decided we need somebody to actually hit things, and that's basically what he does. He hits people really hard, and he can take a lot of damage.
Right, so of course you are all Kai initiates on your journey towards becoming Kai Lords themselves. The events of this expedition, by the way, take place about 5 years before the very first Lone Wolf book, where all sorts of interesting things happen. So the Kai Monastery is standing beautifully tall on the river Anorum.
So we're all going to die, eventually. It's guaranteed, because we...
It's called a spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Things happen, okay? Anyway, so you're all dressed in your green cloaks. Green cloaks are the symbol of the Kai. And even as an initiate, you would command respect from most peasants and that kind of thing. Now, your Kai Lord, the three of you have been sequestered to him, to journey with him to a remote and discreet castle, which sits on Tuz Bay, which is right in the northwest of the kingdom of Sommerland. And your Kai Lord's name is Silent Spirit. The three of you, when you were leaving the monastery, were ragged on by the fellow initiates because the problem with Silent Spirit is that he does not talk at all. He simply assumes you will anticipate his needs and provide. And when you don't, Silent Spirit does like to use a form of communication which usually helps encourage people to think harder. He carries with him a staff which is covered in silver runes, which no one knows where he got, but he will use that to prompt you if you do not perform what he anticipates you should be performing.
I now know why I'm so tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Because you never did.
So Silent Spirit
to talk so much.
You'll hit the mark at some point. Just keep talking.
Just talking until I see his eyes move, or the stick, one of the two. So, your journey from the Kai Monastery takes you up through the Freyland Forest, past the grand city of Turan, where the great mages have their towers and learn their secret arts, and even further north towards the Cultasea, that massive ocean of brilliant azure blue that stretches away to the far frozen lands in the north. As you are skirting around the edge of the Dernkrag Mountains, a massive mountain range that is snow-capped throughout most of the year, your party has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. Initially, you were traveling with a caravan of merchants who were traveling to Turan. Then you were traveling with foresters who were heading towards a small copse of very old trees in the Dernkrag Mountains. Now it is just the four of you. And the road, although fairly well maintained, is very desolate. On the left-hand side of you, you have the massive Dernkrag Mountains stretching away into almost infinity. And on the right-hand side, you have quite a cliff, which drops away down into a spiky, rocky floor and then is swept away by the Cultasea Ocean.
How many days have we been traveling?
So far, you have been traveling for 3 days.
Oh, okay.
But food has not been a problem, as you've been traveling with the caravan and that kind of thing. And the monastery kitted you out quite well for the journey. You all are carrying with you an additional 2 days' worth of rations. It is on the afternoon of the fourth day that you gain insight around a rather sharp corner. It's like a corner and a curve at the same time. It's a corner. Around the corner, you see stretching way into the distance, probably maybe 10 miles away. So it's really just a faint blue outline. but you can see the great promontory of rock that sticks out into Tuz Bay, upon which sits Tungay Keep, which is where you are ultimately heading. The purpose of your mission, you're not sure. You weren't part of that briefing. Only Silent Spirit was.
And he doesn't speak.
You'll
Yes.
never get that particular briefing. However,
So make sure he doesn't die, because otherwise we'd be like,
we're here to do something.
hit
It is-
things.
What's that?
Hit things.
Hit things. Yes. So it is the afternoon of the fourth day, and Silent Spirit has stopped walking.
I step back. Let him do the talk.
Yeah, just make sure I don't run into anybody. And
What says I haven't been talking all the way along?
I step away from him.
hopefully I'm not in front, because if I'm in front, it'll be like,
You just kind of keep going.
How do we address Silent Speaker? Oh, wise one.
You can either refer to him as Lord,
Right.
or once you feel you are familiar enough, you could call him Silent Spirit.
my lord.
My lord, are we making camp?
No.
He looks out over the great vastness of the Culta Sea, and then looks at the Derncrag Mountains, then looks down the road that you've just come from, and opens up his little pouch, and he takes out a single piece of, it looks like rolled up parchment paper, and he hands it to you.
Yay!
He then turns around and starts walking back along the road that you just came from.
Okay, I think perhaps I should read this before
Quickly,
we just
quickly,
follow him
quickly,
back.
quickly,
Okay,
quickly.
so I unroll this and
You unfurl it, and you look at it. Very neat handwriting. And it simply says, determine whether Lord Kragan is in collaboration with the forces of the Dark Lords of Helgadad or not.
fairly easy.
expect you.
Right.
And then at the bottom, very neatly printed, is an S and then another S.
It speaks.
Speaks. Who was the lord we were needing to?
Kragan.
Kragan.
If anyone has knowledge occult or the skill occult or the skill sage,
He has a cult.
Pick me.
all right,
We have the guys who into weird stuff.
make your check
Oh, that's so good. 2.
plus.
The cult says +1. Oh, then that's +1.
So 3.
3.
You think you've heard the name Kragan before, but you're not entirely sure.
Very useful you are.
Well, I have other skills.
Does anyone have sixth sense?
Yes.
Yes.
You are sensing further down the road, because you're standing there and you're busy arguing about what to do or whatever the case might be, and you look back at the castle, and the road, as I said, it goes around that curved corner thing. You sensing a presence of malice just around the corner.
Thieves on the road.
Oh, goody. So where are they?
Just around the corner.
So
I'm guessing
Yeah.
would be the best place.
amble
for
into the
ambush.
woods and ambush the ambushes.
Okay, so you're going to make yourself your way up into the hills of the Derncrag, and it's slightly forested, you're quite right. What are you two doing?
I'll follow behind Sunrain.
If I can assist in any way with my camo knowledge experience,
Right.
I could give them, like perhaps not travel in a certain way to disturb the rocks that they might see falling and alert them. Or
Do you have camouflage?
I do have camouflage.
Do you have tracking?
I have tracking.
You have tracking. So before you two sort of head off, sorry, I didn't write down your names.
Wise speaker.
Wise speaker.
Kind heart. A bunch of Care Bears.
The sun rains down on you. Rain, sun rain.
Sunrain. Okay, there we go. Generated through the random name generated within the system, I might add.
Yes, yes. No, I had nothing to do with it.
Yes, that generator always seems to roll the numbers you don't want. But anyway, okay, so Kind Heart sort of says, well, if you head into the hills this way, just watch for rock falls and that sort of thing. And with your tracking, you go, well, yes, all right, we'll do that type of thing.
Can we combine, combine the camouflage, the tracking, and the survival?
Have you got survival, the skill?
I have the survival skill.
Okay, make a roll for survival skill, please.
3 plus 4.
4. Okay.
I'm presuming that willpower, endurance, or the combat skill will give a +1 to one of them.
One of them will. They all
Yeah,
okay.
so 4.
4. Okay, so yes, you can sort of see the trail that these two are kind of pointing out. They seem to have a lot more surety as to exactly where to go. You kind of have a ballpark figure. What are you doing as these two then hurry off?
I'm also interested using my camo ability to work out if they are hiding, how well are they hiding, and where would they most likely be hiding. So I could maybe track where they are, because now we've made the plan, and before they pop out, step out from around the corner to give them, so the thieves will be focused on me when they come from behind.
Okay. Well, given that this path, the road,
Is a curvy type thing.
Correct.
And we're expecting them to be around about here-ish. So he wants to give us enough time to come over here so that when he walks over, they jump and we...
Correct. Yes, and given that one side is a drop down into the ocean and the other is mountainous, you assume that they will be hiding mostly in the mountain areas. If they're really smart, maybe they put a boulder in the road and they're hiding behind that. But otherwise, there's not much likely to be coming from the coast side. All right, so you two disappear into the hills. The hills are not very difficult at this point since you are in fairly lowland, rolling kind of hills. The forest is beautiful old oak trees, and there's that wonderful kind of scent in the air of the deep dust that their leaves generate as they continuously fall to the floor. And it softens your movement quite nicely. So you see the two of them disappear. Their green cloaks quickly blend in with the forest that surrounds and eventually envelops them. You wait 4, 5, maybe 6 minutes. You think they're kind of in position. You guys have crested over the hill, and as you come over the hill, does someone have perception or tracking?
Perception.
Perception. Okay, tracking trumps perception. So as you cross over the hill, you look down and you can very clearly see these bandits are not in any way, shape or form intelligent. They're hiding behind, there's some boulders that have fallen from the hill. There's basically 4 of them hiding behind those boulders, and then there's one of them that is on the other side of the road hiding behind, you think it's the remains of an old cart. But they're dressed in brown kind of clothing. One of them has a red cloak on, which stands out quite well. The other problem is that to the left, in a sort of a hollow on the hillside, there is a campfire that's burning and there's smoke rising out of it. And so subtlety is not there. No.
Coordinated.
Indeed, indeed. And you can see that they're basically ready and waiting because they may have heard something or, well, you don't know exactly.
Why they're waiting.
Right. So you are in position, you step out from the corner.
I'm going to walk casually as if nothing, I know nothing.
As if you know nothing, all right. Well,
How far are we from them?
I've sort of timed so that you might be...
Okay.
well, you're hoping that they're
I'm
fairly
hoping
close.
that they haven't...
You're a good 50 or 60 foot away.
Okay. You do know that we don't have any ranged weapons, right?
He does now. You step around the corner. Hi! Wait, they don't have range.
So I'm walking with my staff
yes.
Casually towards the
Do you
town.
take off your green Kai cloak, by the way? Remember that this is the symbol of the Order of the Kai.
Yes, I, if possible, would turn it inside out.
So it's green woolen cloak. I
so
didn't
it's not
line it with a different colour. No.
Okay. Sure, yeah, just...
You kind of stash it into your backpack?
Yes, if it fits.
Yes, it takes up a slot.
Oh, okay, sure, yes.
It's magical backpacks.
Yes.
Yes, they're very specific on their backpacks. They have a limited capacity. But anyway.
But you could put anything
you can put anything in it,
size,
provided that it's only one of 8 items. All right, so you kind of come around the corner looking like a traveller, basically.
Yes.
The one with the red cloak sort of steps around, and He probably is about 40, 45. He's got various scars that kind of chase each other all over his face. You can see he's wearing this big leather tunic with big studs in it. It looks fairly well mended. He has a large broadsword strapped to his side. He hasn't drawn it yet. But he has a very red cloak on it. And the symbol on the red cloak looks to be like a serpent rising out of a wave.
Do we have any knowledge of Lord Kragan's?
You did not. Now that you see the serpent rising out of the waves, you can make another check for occult or for sage.
Oh!
Was it a 0?
It was a 2,
Oh, it was
plus
a 2.
another one,
That's
3.
You look at the symbol and it still doesn't mean anything to you.
As a weary traveller, I wouldn't react or know any better.
Correct. So he kind of steps out in the pathway and he opens up his mouth and you can see there's less teeth there than you would really like. An apple probably wouldn't be afraid of him. He looks you up and down.
I say, greeting, kind sir.
Are you part of the Kai Order? You don't seem to be like part of the Kai Order.
No, I do
You're not wearing a cloak.
No, I do not look like part of the Kai Order.
So, why are you coming here to Tungi Keep?
I heard they were interesting people, such as yourself.
What are you two doing?
Sneaking down, because the guys are basically closest to the side.
Yes.
While they're distracted by this, I want to try and use that to get up to the closest one and be ready to basically annihilate him and then move.
You have tracking. Do you have stealth or camouflage or tracking, any of those three?
I'm good at survival and hunting.
Hunting. You've got hunting.
I've
You've got hunting.
I've got
Okay,
hunting.
all right. You can make a roll with hunting. You have the discipline of hunting.
Yes.
Discipline of hunting. All right. So, what did you get?
A 9 plus.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, 9 is more than enough. Okay, so you both moving silently down. He's clearly kind of gunning for this fight. What are you doing?
Well, if he's gunning for it, I'm also hearing what the toothless one is saying and not really thinking there's much convincing that can take place here. So I'll follow his lead on running in on this one. I might be preparing the flat end of my axe to whack someone on the back of the head rather than knock them out.
Well, as a note, I have the Mind Blast skill, which allows me when I take somebody down to choose if I want to kill them or not. I'm not really going to be worried about that until I hit the red guy. The red guy, when we get to that point, if we get to that point, I'm planning on knocking him out.
So you two are charging down the hill very quietly. They haven't noticed you whatsoever. He looks at you. You what?
Interesting people. You are from the keep, right?
Make an influence check or...
Oh shit, I should have been there.
Yeah, the splitting up the party just at the very first scenario is not the best way to go.
Best idea.
Do you have influence as a skill? No, not so much?
No, I got a dedication. Perhaps I could tell him about the ways of... Oh wait, I'm not supposed to be a Kai, but we're just...
Yeah, you just told him you're not a guy.
I'm not from the keep at all. Those succulent lords will die soon. And then you guys pile into the left. You see them basically just suddenly appear out of the low foliage of the oak trees and just slam into the one guy. All of them were focused on this bizarre conversation that was happening.
I was happy to actually move past him, and then he goes, well, you're here to meet interesting people, and you're like, oh God.
Anyway, so now we get to the interesting
Always
part
the
of
healer.
combat.
It's always the healer.
The healer in the middle of the ambush.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to the actual ambush. I've got some stats here which we need to go through quite quickly. Right, so we have a mob of bandits. I need to put the paper down here. So we have mob of bandits. Okay, and then we've got the bandit leader. Now, The bandit leader does not react initially. It's just the mob that goes in first. And the mob is split between the two of you to begin with. So what is
And the one guy on the other side.
Yeah, he's going to react next round. He's kind of still seeing what's happening. What is your combat skill?
With or without my shield?
With all your weaponry, because you're in full-on combat.
17.
17. Okay, so your modifier is +2. What is your combat?
22.
22.
It was designed to be the tank.
Yeah. 22. What the hell is 22 from 15? 7.
Yeah.
Your combat modifier is 7. This means that you could, in theory, kill the opponent in one shot.
Let's do that.
If you roll a 0. Okay, and then I've got their endurance points here.
Those odds.
If I roll it 10%, we can do this.
We can do that.
Okay, so first round of combat. Yours 22 is first. You go first. Make your attack.
9.
Damn, just off for
It
an
wasn't a
instant
10.
kill. He
It wasn't
almost
a
took
10.
his head off. Almost.
No, he did, because the amount of damage he did, 18, just cuts the bandit in half. He doesn't even. He looks up, and you use a sword, and you just cleave from under his chin to the top of his brain case, straight off.
Wow.
It sails into the air. Make your attack.
Right. I'm
The
going to...
second one is still busy turning
string
around
these
as bits of his friends spray all over him.
brawny double axe, and I got a 6
You
with
got
the
a
plus
6.
2.
Okay, so there we go. That means you... Okay, so one bandit is completely dead. The other one takes 9 damage. However, as you slices into him... What, are you using an axe? Eh? Two-handed, is that right?
Yeah.
So you basically bury this axe into his chest. It really does a lot of damage. There's blood everywhere. He, however, does manage to bring up his sword relatively well, and does a glancing blow across your arm, dealing 2 points of damage to you.
With a defense of 3, does that block any of that?
Reduces everything down to nothing. So
Okay.
it glances off of your armor, basically.
It's so much as like you standing in the way, well, leaning onto it, but unfortunately he just...
Yes.
Just...
Okay, there is a third bandit. The third bandit is going to attack you because he doesn't have a choice. He's on -9 because this is the weakest one. He's wielding a dagger. You suspect this was his first kind of outing.
This was our first outing too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We did travel across the whole, like,
Trained Kai initiates who spent 12 years in the monastery learning how to kill versus a bandit. He slashes out at you. Ooh, well, he gets a 5, but on -12. Am I reading this right?
Does he damage
Yes.
himself?
He does indeed, because what he does is he does 1 damage to you with his dagger. He kind of slices at you, but in his motion he steps past, and it's just an easy thing for you just to bring your axe in and under.
His sword.
Sorry, your sword under his rib cage, dealing a ridiculous amount of damage to him. He takes 7 damage.
you just stand there and have them
You
run
just
into
stand
you.
there.
Well, at the same time, he basically put it into the shield, and it's just a case of...
I hurt a lot now. Okay, now we go to the first full round where everybody can act. The bandit leader is sitting on a combat skill of 20, and yours is 22. So
Wow.
he has a -2, or you got a +2 against him.
How about I go talk to the bandit leader, and you deal with the scrap?
There's still 2 people left.
2.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So now we can react again in combat. So you're going first. You're on 22. You always react first.
I'm gonna...
Go for the
He's
bandit
going to
leader.
charge the bandit leader. Okay. He pulls out this rather mean-looking mace. But yeah, make your attack.
2.
At +2. He's well versed in combat. He does 4 damage to you, and takes 5 himself. But he's wearing chainmail, so he takes a little bit less.
Well, the nice part is it still just glances off the shield.
Yes. Correct. Okay, that's that combat. You are taking on the little dagger wielding guy.
Yes.
Okay, your combat is 15, right?
No, 18?
18, and his is...
Sorry, 17.
17. So you're on +5.
Okay. Oh, 1.
He's sneaky. He's definitely sneaky. He does 4 damage to you.
Oh dear.
But in doing 4 damage, he kind of steps forward, overstretches again, drops his weapon after sort of slashing at you, and dies.
Oh dear.
Yeah, because you deal 6 damage to him on a backhand
Yes.
swipe.
With the axe.
The one who was on the far side, he charges over at you.
Okay.
What is your combat skill?
15.
Okay, so you guys are exactly 0.
You don't count like your bonuses if you just decide to use Mind Blast. And it's okay.
No,
Your
if you want to
is
use
15.
Mind Blast, then you would add that in. And you can certainly use Mind Blast.
Yes, it's probably better than my stick. Yes.
Remember, with the Mind Blast, what you're doing is going, hey, look at the sword over here while you're hitting him. So that's why you get the +2.
Okay, so you're sitting on +2, so roll your attack. He's using a spear.
Really?
3.
3.
3, wow. Okay, well...
+1. We get all these +1s, right?
No.
Oh.
That's only for skill checks.
Okay.
This is for combat. He deals 3 damage to you. But you managed to get him a cracker across the back of his leg, dealing
-1 for defense.
6 damage to him.
Yes.
He cries out in pain, ah!
Just reference. There was 3 damage that he did,
Yes.
minus your defense of 2.
Yes, so 1.
So 1 damage.
Correct.
I should put those.
So I did the
Defense
same.
is really powerful.
Yes, it is. Especially when you design yourself to
be able to take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so back to the top of the round. Bandit leader is still standing, as are you. We worked out you're on a +2.
Yeah. And a cock dice. And a
Not on the table.
3.
3
Aw.
again. Okay, so you take 3 damage, he takes 6.
Does he not have any
Minus
armor
2.
on?
He does.
Okay.
-2, so he is taking a 4 damage. Okie dokie. You are standing alone. What are you doing?
Who's left?
There's one on Kind Heart over there.
I'll go and help Kind Heart
Sunrain
out.
seems to be laughing.
Yes. I'll go run up behind the one behind Kind Heart and give it a whack on the back of the head with the axe. Preferably the sharp part.
All right. You are on 18. He's on 15, so that gives you +3.
2.
Okay. He spins around as he hears you coming.
Not using that dice anymore.
And you take a grand total of 3 damage.
Okay.
And he takes 6 damage. Okay. Kind Heart.
Well, seeing as I'm being attacked, I might as well attack back, right?
Right.
And nobody's fallen yet, so I can't really
Well, apart
worry
from
about
bandits.
anybody else but myself. I'm going to attack again with Mind Blast. I don't have to use any will points or anything like that for this particular thing. Okay, cool. 3. Same guy, same damage.
3. Yep. 3 damage to you. 6 to him. He drops. He just collapses. Are you killing or are you just making him unconscious?
I'm not going to kill him. We might need the guys for information, so the more we can keep alive.
He sort of clutches his head, his eyes roll, he stumbles to his knees, and he collapses. Back to you, O great Kai Lord of the Blade.
6.
6, and you're on +3, hey?
+2.
+2. 6, he takes 7 damage. You cut into him quite deeply into his thigh. Blood starts to squirt out of it. He swings his mace around at you, but does nothing. It bounces off of your shield. The two of you see this combat happening. What are you doing?
Do you think now's a good time for us to talk to him?
Sure, with sleep.
There's almost a start when it starts going concede.
In which case, I run up and I'll hit the duty with the axe.
I'm looking around to see if this is all that's,
Okay.
or if somebody is running towards the keep.
Do you have the skill Perception?
No.
Do you have Hunting?
No. I got 6 Sense.
Okay, Sixth Sense is not telling you that anything is bad is happening right now.
No, it's
Nothing bad
This
is going
isn't.
to happen
They
shortly.
haven't quite thought ahead of having a messenger run off if they get
No.
ambushed because
No.
they didn't think it was going to happen.
They didn't think that was going to happen.
and
all
also
right.
they seem to be against
Can
the
I
law.
possibly mind over matter my axe into the back of the... The leader.
I don't think that's what it's meant for.
Is that not what it's meant
Not
for?
really. It's kind of more for lifting little rocks and making a distracting noise over there rather than moving a giant axe. You could make the axe, you could certainly lift the axe up and you can drift the axe over towards him.
And go like, hey.
But
Okay.
the force would be
Right.
negligible.
Why the hell do I have mind over matter then?
Right,
No,
it will come in handy. Remember, if you remember playing the whole like Lone Wolf games, there's a lot of like fiddly bits.
Little subtly.
Yes.
And the fiddly bits require such fiddlies.
Yes.
Right, well, I'll axe,
Alright,
which
so
is a very fiddly.
Yours
thing.
is 18, his is 20, so you're on -2. Make your attack.
Right. 8.
8. You come running in from behind. You take 1 damage, and he drops to his knees. He's not dead, but he basically, as he drops to his knees, he drops his mace. He kind of stares blankly at the two of you with this look of, that's not what was supposed to have happened. And then he very neatly folds himself into a puddle on the floor.
Just to double check,
All
if
is
anything
quiet.
is ever under the defense amount, you don't actually score that as damage. It's only when
Correct.
it's above whatever
If
amount
it
it's
equals,
above
you
by.
take 1 damage. But if it's above, then you deduct and take the damage.
Okay. Said about healing.
So you can meditate for 10 minutes.
No, not me. I didn't take any damage.
Yeah, I was going to
Yes,
say.
no, you don't need any.
You don't need any. Yeah.
Yeah. How many you've taken more damage?
I've taken 1 damage.
Oh, I've taken 2.
Yeah. Okay.
So 1 hour.
I meant
10
before.
minutes and 20 minutes.
So there was a mention of blood spurting out of his,
Yes.
which not a good thing. So maybe bandage that up.
Okay.
So
Are
we
you
can
going to use
talk to him
healing on
longer?
him, or are you
Yes.
just going to use medicine as a skill?
Healing.
Okay, so you're restoring 2 points to him. All right. You restore 2 points to him. What are you two doing? You can see old Sunrain here.
I'm dragging the body that we created towards and looking for anything we can tie them up with. Even if we can take a
Rope.
awesome, that will work.
So whilst you were looking around, by the way, you did see a campfire a little ways up the
did.
hill. Yeah.
We did. That's I was trying to see if there was anybody watching from there or running in that direction when we did the
You
attack.
didn't see anyone.
Also, I'd like to see if there's any helmets and stuff, shields lying around.
They are all wearing.
There's a mace. You can check it for stuff.
Yeah, the mace is quite a good quality mace by the looks of things. And now that you actually look at the mace, you realize that this is a fairly new weapon, possibly crafted in the last maybe year or so. Very sharp, the little spikes that are on it, very well made, definitely Sumaland production. Yeah.
Anybody know how to use one of these?
I'm good with an axe.
I'm good with my pointy stick.
I'll just keep it for remembrance sake.
Okay, that takes up a slot in your backpack. The characters are limited to 8 items in their backpack.
Weapons count as the 2
Weapons
special
count
slots.
as-
So
A slot, yeah. Okay.
Yes, so no extra armor.
The guy in the studded leather, he's wearing a leather vest.
it's a little cut up.
Which, yeah, it's a little bit punctured here and there. Could be repaired.
Okay.
So there is that would give you +1 defense.
So I already have chainmail.
So leather would be worse.
I'm just looking for a helmet.
Yeah. None of them are wearing helmets. They're not that well equipped, except for him. He had that red cloak with the serpent over the water.
Yeah.
Take that just for
Okay.
red cloak.
I also take out
The
my
red
cloak
cloak
and put
you
it
can
on.
actually list as a special item
Ooh, okay.
because it
There's
may
a
have some
significance
value.
to some people.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
I also take out my cloak and put it on.
Put it back on again.
Yeah.
Okay. Between the lot of them, you find a grand total of 15 gold coins.
Wow.
All
Well,
there's
Summerland's
15
denomination.
crowns?
15 crowns, correct.
Should we split it?
Yeah.
5 each.
That's the one thing I forgot a character creation for the
Oh,
second.
10?
5.
You have amassed 15 plus the now
20.
5, so you're on 20. Okay. The forest is relatively quiet, and way below you, you can hear the crush and wash of the ocean waves crashing on the rocks below. Aside from that, birds have started to sing again, and the afternoon is fairly pleasant.
Bound guy.
Yeah?
Hands and feet. I've only got 1 piece of rope, so you want to
Use the
Well,
same
I
piece
was
of rope.
going to question them then there instead
a
of
campfire.
dragging them all into town.
Let's take them to the campfire.
Sure, we're not sure if that's the rest of their group.
Yeah, we came down from the mountains. From the mountains, we saw this is the group, this is their campfire.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so that's the big chief tied up.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your one?
My one is still will be out for a while,
Okay.
so I can throw him over my shoulder. Well, actually, you're the more brawny.
I'll throw him over my shoulder.
I'll throw him over his shoulder. Yeah, carry this, and
Off you go.
walk up the hill.
Okay. All right.
When we drop them off at the campfire, we'll tie them together. And
So you carry these guys over your shoulders up a very short path, maybe 15, 20 foot, through some fairly dense oak trees and little shrubs and things that are growing around it. And you come out into their clearing, which you guys saw before. There are 3 very badly made lean-tos that have got branches and leaves covering it to sort of make sleeping places. There's the little campfire in the center, and there's 2 rabbits slowly roasting on the fire.
That saves our other days of rations.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. If anybody has the skill of hunting,
yes,
you can convert those 2 rabbits into 2 meals.
aren't they already?
Well, they are, but you need to pack them and prep them and make sure that you can.
We can just eat them now and then
Eat
not
them
have to
now.
worry about them for the rest of the day.
Correct. Okay. There is a small box. It's bound with strips of metal that has been set next to one of the lean-tos. Otherwise, it's pretty much it. They've been here. Anyone have tracking?
Yes?
Yes. Okay. They've been here for probably about a week.
Okay.
Give or take. Yeah.
Can I use? Is it possible to use Sixth Sense to detect if the box itself is possibly trapped, or?
Okay. You focus your attention on the box, sort of staring at it. It's quite crudely made, but the metal bands are obviously to make it fairly strong. And there is a lock on it, but the lock looks as if it has been beaten 6 ways from Tuesday, but it's
Probably
still
not
in
theirs.
place.
Okay, so it's probably not theirs. They've just been trying to get into it.
Mind over matter?
Would this be a good time to use mind
This
over
could be a
matter?
good time to use mind over matter.
So I'm going to use my really fiddly mind over matter to fiddly the fiddly bit.
Okay, so you bend down next to the lock and you sort of look at the lock and you focus your mind on the tumblers within it. And you very carefully start rolling a tumbler around until you hear a very faint click. Then you start with the next tumbler. It will take you some time to roll through it because this is a very well-made lock. It is something.
A
This would
well-made
have been a
lock.
lock of very good value
If somebody hadn't battered it.
if it hadn't been beaten with
Yeah.
probably a mace repeatedly. And
Someone's welcome to heal me while I'm busy fixing, busy with the
Are
lock.
we still going to rest?
Yeah. Well, we've tied the guys up
yeah.
to each other and around
rest.
10 minutes rest restores 1 hit point, 1 endurance point,
Okay.
unless you do healing on each other.
Oh yeah.
Remember, you can do healing once per day
Oh.
on each other, and that restores 2 hit points or 3 hit points.
Oh, the
No,
rest.
you used yours on the duty.
Yeah. Well, but we can do it. It's one target. Each target a day.
Each target once per day.
We can wait for because it's.
Yeah, I haven't taken that much damage. I just didn't know.
And resting will get 1, so there's no point in.
Okay.
So I'm
if
two
resting will
bad
get
points.
1, I don't
I
have.
get more for.
Do you heal up normally, just resting, like irrespective of whether you're healing? Okay.
Restore 3, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Well,
But
then
that's
we'll
after,
just
that's
rest
after
up.
8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, we're not going to stay there this long. We're just going to click
Okay.
that and then have somebody who's more eloquent
Yes.
speak to the red
I think
ex-red cloak guy.
I may possibly give that a try.
So are you all meditating for 10 minutes?
Yeah. So then.
But remember, I don't have healing.
Okay, so then you need to be restored by somebody else.
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
restore
Sleep
him.
8 hours.
I restore him and then I'll meditate
Okay.
for 20 minutes.